Vision Builders. Vision Builders is a coaching and mentoring platform that breathes life into your visions and helps you to realize your dreams. I'm your host, DB, WDB, WDB, BBW, never mind. Anyway, William Damone Brown. I'm here, excited doing this meeting. You're going to receive guidance. Yes, I'm reading it. And realizing purpose and fulfilling your destiny for entrepreneurs, professionals, career professionals, and professional brands. We're helping you build vision from A to Z. And as I said before, what your A is and what your Z is, that's up to you. We'll just help you. We'll help you navigate it. We're thrilled to have you. If you're new, if you've been here before, welcome back. We're very excited. And thank you for joining us. And while you're here, take a moment, please, and invite some people, ask some people to jump in, join, especially if you feel that they'll benefit from the broadcast. And also, while you're at it, please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the notification button so that you'll know whenever we go live. I'm going to talk about some things tonight that's going to be very exciting. I'm going to put up a couple of videos and then we're going to bounce through them and we're going to talk about, life and our experience. And I'm here to answer your questions as you have them. I got something for you. Ready? Ready. Lindsay says she agrees. Okay, let's get ready. Let's get ready for this. Let's get our slideshow ready. That's the right one. Let's see. Yes, it is. And if you can't hear, please let me know right away. But you should be able to hear.
What's the difference between price versus value? A price focuses on cost, affordability, and is transactional. Value focuses on perception, experience, and transformation. A price is all about what a product costs. Value is about what a product is worth to the customer. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. Businesses sell prices, but brands sell value. Businesses compete on cheaper prices, while brands compete on better experiences. One attracts discount customers. One builds loyal customers. Competing on price makes you replaceable. Competing on value makes you irreplaceable. A $10 watch tells time. A $20,000 Rolex tells a story. And the truth is, people don't buy the best products. They buy the products they like the best. Iconic brands understand that. Every business has the chance of becoming a brand. Every business has a chance at selling more than a product. But this depth takes more than luck. It takes planning, strategizing, and execution. Value-driven brands don't just sell products, they sell beliefs, emotion, and connection. So ask yourself, what value do you provide?
Whew. First of all, before I go anywhere and say anything, I know we're delayed. I want to know if the sound was right. Was there any echo? Was there any foolishness? I was wondering, should I be turning off my mic or leaving my mic on? So I want to know, take a few seconds, did that play right? Yes, let's give it a few seconds because we could edit this out.
Yeah, Aaron just came in.
Welcome, Aaron.
Yes. Okay, so Lauren said the sound was great, no technical errors.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Edwidge, where's my written breakdown of that? The value versus that, because I want to have the points up without having to go through the whole video again. But can you please text me my breakdowns of it? And while you're doing that, I want to just go over something. The big point that was made was brands. Okay, let me see. No, she didn't send it yet. Okay. Let's look at it one more time. One more look. Let me see. Did she send it to me? Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the points. And I want to make sure I get all these points in here. This is very important. The difference between price and value. And I really want, because I love it so much, I really want to show it one more time. I really want to walk through this again. And new people just came in the room, so I just want to show it again. I really want us to get an eye on what's being said here. So let's go back to this.
What's the difference between price versus value? A price focuses on cost, affordability, and is transactional. Value focuses on perception, experience, and transformation. A price is all about what a product costs. Value is about what a product is worth to the customer. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get.
Stop. Watch this. Price and value. People don't always pay for value. They pay for a brand. They pay for what makes them excited. You've heard me say it a million times. A pair of designer jeans could cost you hundreds of dollars, and they're not halfway as durable or useful as a pair of, say, Wranglers, right? Which will last you and down to your grandchildren. So people buy, and he's calling it value. I don't totally agree with it as value, but I totally agree with what it makes you feel. And that's where the value lies. So in other words, the value is not in what was made or what you're actually buying, but the value is in, which he gets to in the end, the feeling that it gives you, that you feel like I am wearing this and this thing is more valuable than the other. Now, some things do have value. And I'll give you an example. I remember one time back in the day, this lady was selling Coach bags. And she was selling at a good price and she was making money. And, you see the crappy bags and you look at them and they're crappy. But this one was like very, very well made. And something happened to it. And she took it to the Coach store. And the Coach person took it, looked it in the back, and came back out in the front and said, "I'm sorry, miss, this is not a real bag." And she said, "What do you mean it's not a real bag? I paid," and he said, "It's a really good knockoff. It's a really good knockoff. I mean, they did good." He said, "It almost caught me out there, but they had a way, I guess, to look in it and to realize this is not the real thing." So the value was in the real Coach bag. They're made well. At least they were. I don't know about today. My point is, the value to this person was the fact that they owned a Coach bag, not because the bag is more valuable. So as you listen to the rest of this, he says, watch this. Cost is about a transaction, is about, let me read the notes. I don't want to mess them up. Value is about what a product is worth to the consumer. Price is what you pay for. Value is what you get. And again, I dance on that because he's really not telling the truth, because a lot of times you don't get value for what you pay for. You get the feeling of value within yourself. And that's the thing that about this whole presentation that I want to make very clear. You decide what's valuable to you. So the truth is, he's saying it's value, but it doesn't mean it's really a value. That word to me is not really being used correctly. The value is in the quality of the product and how it's made in my mind. But the value to a person is what it means to them and how it makes them feel and what they can show off to people that either, try to demonstrate quote unquote status or whatever other junk they're trying to sell or convey. But it's not really value in the real sense of dollars and cents. So does anybody have any question about what I just said? And the reason I'm telling you this is not about what you buy, but when you start to create your product and when you start to create your business, I want you to understand that you have to create a value to the person who's trying to get what you get. You can sell a car, you can sell iced tea, you can sell whatever. You have to find a way to put a twist on it that makes people feel like buying look in the store and all these bottles of water. and you get a bottle of water for $1 something, and then you get a bottle of water for $5 because they convinced you that it's electrolytes and it's, what's it, alkaline or whatever, it's water. But they create something that makes you feel it's of value to you. Any comments, questions? It's a good point here. I'll keep going. So watch this. Business sell prices, but brands sell value. I already broke down the difference between value in terms of, in case anybody wants to say, that's not true, it's not really a value. So I already broke that down. Businesses compete on cheaper prices while brands compete on better experiences. So this goes to prove my point. It's about the experience. It's not about whether it's better or not. It's about the experience. I'm going to offer you guys to look at this movie, Pirates of Silicon Valley. It's about the start of Apple and Windows, right? And how Apple was content on making the better product. They were driven by having a product that offers a value that nobody else offers. Bill Gates, when he stole the operating system and got it out before him, he didn't really steal it. He really just copied what he was doing, which they both got from Hewlett Packard. At the end of the movie, the very end of the movie, Steve Jobs, when he finds out what Bill Gates is doing behind his back, Steve Jobs says to him, first he says, "You're stealing from me." He said, "What are you talking about? I'm stealing from you. We both tried to steal the same product. I just got mine out first." And then he yells at him, "We're better than you." And Bill Gates says, "You don't get it. It doesn't matter." In other words, what he says, we're first and we're coming out first. And it doesn't matter if you're better. It matters that we're first. Now, in the long run, that might not be the case. But if you're building a corporation or a company or a brand, listen to me close, and you coming out with a product, I don't care if you're selling t-shirts. There are people that are selling t-shirts and sweatshirts and sweatpants and becoming millionaires. Watch this. And all they're doing is buying something from the same place in China or wherever that you may get it from, but they've convinced you in a value. And they've convinced you that by wearing this, you are cooler or better than someone else. So even as me and Nelly has a hair oil, I'm always saying to Nelly, we have a great hair oil. You've put your heart and soul into creating something that works, and people are beginning to say it works. But that's not going to be the selling point. The selling point is going to be that you've now created a value and an experience that we've created something that people say, unless you buy their oil, you don't have the best oil. And now people believe, and I had a conversation with Nelly today about placebo. How many of you know what placebo is? If you do, put it in the comments. I want to see if you know. But we had a conversation today about placebo and what placebo was and how it works in the business marketplace. Is very important. We'll talk more about that. And as we go forward in the future, well, you can see your elbow. It's cool. But I just saw something pop up in the screen. I said, what the heck is that? Anyway, my point is, if you understand how to touch the heart of a person or individual, you've mastered the game of acquiring customer base. Anything in there?
Okay, so Aaron said fake treatment. Ruth said, so customer service is what sets brands apart. How the customer feels after purchasing from you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Devon said that was chess, not checkers.
Okay. Now, ask Aaron, what did you mean by fake? What is it, fake what?
Fake treatment.
Ask him, what does he mean by fake treatment? I'm curious to know. Okay, so did anybody comment on placebo yet? And was that his comment on placebo? Because, you know, the statements come in at different times, so you got to tell me a little bit more about what you're talking about. So it says, one builds customer loyalty. Competing prices makes you replaceable. One builds customer loyalty. That's a brand. Competing on prices makes you replaceable, because if anybody beats your price, then they won't come to you, they will go to them. So, case in point, ladies out here in Florida, and people are like, oh, we don't want to pay that price. That's too much. We don't want to pay that price. So we have to decide, well, do we want to lower the prices now to make ourselves fit with this people and what they perceive their budget is? And here's one thing I know to be a fact. If somebody wants something, they figure out how to get it. Those same people who would say to her, oh, that's too much to have you do my hair, will go out the next day and buy a Coach bag and come up with the money to do it. So a lot of times when people saying that's too much, what they're saying is, I don't think you're worth what you're asking for. And we're going to get to that in a minute. That's also a part of today's presentation. We're going to talk about it. You need to get more involved. You need to start asking some questions and get up in here. But anyway.
So Aaron said he thought fake treatment was placebo.
Good. That's a close analogy. It's a close explanation, but not exactly. But I'm going to explain it. So so watch this. Let me just read this. One builds customer loyalty. The other one builds by competing prices, and that makes you replaceable. Right? Now, selling value makes you irreplaceable. People cannot replace the feeling they get from buying what they believe is valuable through you. So the example is a $10 watch tells time. A $20,000 watch tells a story. I'm wearing a Rolex. That means you're successful. Why do you think I was attracted to that Bentley? Because I was like saying that Bentley tells a story. It says to somebody, okay, I need to talk to you. I need to do business with you. I need to look at you and have a conversation with you. You driving a Bentley. And for that reason, it opens the door, the opportunities for me to make more money, for me to charge a different way, for me to demand to be treated a different way in business dealing. I know that sounds corny, but it's the truth. It makes sense. So let's talk about what the placebo is real quick so I don't forget it.
Lindsay said it's usually used with the real one also for testing.
Good. So between both of you guys is what it is. So let me tell you why. Whenever there's a research or an experiment, I call it, on a new drug, a trial, what they'll do is they'll get, let's say, 20 people in the room. They'll give 10 of them the real drug, and they'll give 10 of them a placebo, which is probably just a water pill or a salt pill, but with the understanding to them that it's the real drug. Everybody's under the impression that they're actually taking the drug. One is taking the real thing, the other one is giving a fake. What are they trying to do? People come back and say, oh yeah, I feel good. I feel so much better. Oh wow, I'm on a whole different, wow, this thing really works. And they have to be able to pass FDA approval to have more people respond to the real thing than their placebo. And if you're and they're saying that it worked and they were on the fake, then it's like, okay, so then your mind just created that. But that has a spiritual implication, because what the placebo proves is, and a lot of people have gotten well on placebo. I need you to understand this. A lot of people doing these trials have gotten well and gotten better on placebo. Why? Because their faith believes that they're receiving the drug and they're expecting to be healed as a result of it, and they're getting healed or getting better off of something that's not healing them at all. So that shows you how powerful the mind is. The mind will play tricks on you or work according to your faith, however you want to call it. So it's the same thing in business versus price versus value. If you convince somebody that the value of what you're selling or what you're presenting is worth way more than what it is, you got people who will believe you and believe that they're receiving an experience on that $20,000 watch that they're absolutely not. But it makes them feel good. And as a result, what they call it, the endorphins and all these things that are released in them get results. So if you go out and you're presenting who you are and what you are, and you really believe what you present, you'll see different results. So I'm gonna use Nelly as a case in point. So she's been going out in the street, and we've been going to the markets. We're going to be setting up this weekend in the first time in a marketplace and in a farmer's market. But Nelly has been really, really uncomfortable and has not going to Caucasian people or Asian. She's really uncomfortable. She's very comfortable walking up to people that look like her. And these are the people she's dealt with and done business with for years. So she's been almost frightened. And as a result, we haven't get sales with people outside of our race. And I was like, but that's not because it won't work for them. It's because in your mind, it doesn't work. Now, if she walked up to them with the same confidence she walked up to people of color, she would get the same response. So all of this, what the mind does to you is big. And I'm going to be mindful of time tonight. We're not going to go way, way over and all the stuff like we normally do, because I want to get to my next video, which really paints this picture very powerful. So if anybody has any comments right now, Nelly, let me know while I line up the next video.
Okay. So Devon says, I understand it in a way. Persuasion helps. If you present it well, you can have a loyal following. Word
Correct.
of mouth travels fast.
Correct.
And then Aaron says, yes, word of mouth travels fast. Yeah.
And that word that travels has to stem, listen close to what I'm about to say, from the original speaker. This light is like so right in my face. Let me see if I can turn it down a little bit. It's like I see it shining off my glasses. Where's the turn down? Okay, I turned to, oh, that's nice. That's too dark, right? Yeah, get back here and then just turn it down a little bit. Come on, where's the turn down button? Okay, that's the up button. There you go. Down. There we go. I like that better. Okay, so no, it has to stem from you. Let me tell you what I mean. If I come to you with my product, or you come to me with your product, and you're not confident about what you're selling, if your presentation or your brand is not strong, when you come to me, when I go to the next person, I'm presenting you to them the way you presented you to me. And that travels. And that's pretty good. And she's my friend, and I'm supporting her, and she's trying to get her little thing off the ground, and da 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 da. But if you come and you're sure and you're confident about what you're presenting, then they carry that energy to the next person. So the word of mouth that you guys are talking about comes first from your mouth, and what you present and what you bring to that person originally, they carry the residual of that to the next person. And that's how brands are built that are strong. Because if you watch the Pirates of Silicon Valley, Steve Jobs was under the impression that his computer was the best computer in the world, and nobody was like him and nobody could touch him. And I mean, his arrogance was through the roof. But he had a belief that what he created and what he was doing was the best thing in the world, right? He believed that. Well, his customers believe that. So you say that your Android is better than iPhone to this day, people ready to fight you. They get all into this thing about which phone is better. I always say the one you like the best, the one that works best for you. That's which phone is better. Which car is better? The car that serves your purpose and works best for you. People always try to get into an argument with me or try to start a debate of if a BMW is better than a Mercedes. Well, I don't like Mercedes. I think they're pretty, but I don't like to drive and I don't like the car. That's me. That don't mean that mine is better. It means it's better for me. I'm a BMW man. That's it. You ain't changing that unless you put me in some kind of Mercedes that make me feel what a BMW makes me feel. Mercedes is luxury, but it don't drive like a BMW, which is sport. It's very sport, and that's the way I see. Now people may get on here and have a fit with me, And yeah, come on with it. BMWs to me is a performance. Mercedes is a pretty car. It's not the same. That's my opinion. Come at me. Come get me. My point is, but that's what's better to me. That don't mean it's better to everybody, but that's what brands do. They create a loyalty, and once that loyalty is created, they sometimes come out with garbage, and people still don't see the garbage. Now, I'm a little different. If they come out with something with garbage, I'm gonna say this is garbage. Okay, BMW, you fell off, and I'm out of here. But I'm different. That's not your masses. The masses will stay loyal to a brand that they love, even if the brand is not producing anymore or putting out nothing but placebo. So this is important. Anything that I need to speak to?
Yeah, so Aaron had a question. He said, is the mind the hardest thing to control?
Aaron, I love your questions, man. Yes, absolutely. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if your mind is filled with doubt and negativity, that's what's going to come out of you. And how that got in you, you go through therapy to walk through all that and walk it out. But if you don't have therapy, then here's what you do. Start changing what you say by force, right? Your mind is going to be triggered by what goes in through your eyes, through your ears. But you get poisoned by what comes out of your mouth. So it gets in you, doesn't matter. Once you start to speak it out, it becomes your reality. So once you change what you speak, and that's why I've been doing the power words, and I went through that whole series and will continue to do that, of giving you guys a better vocabulary. So let me give you an example. Edwidge is on here. Is Ruth and Sophie on?
Sophie is on.
Okay, well, Ruth's husband is on. Good enough.
And Ruth is on, yes.
Okay. Remember when we started Vision Builders years ago? You guys said, I don't want to come on Vision Builders because I'm not an entrepreneur and that ain't for me. I said, you still need to come on anyway. You can learn some things. Now, each one of you are starting your own business or have started your own business. Well, guess who's becoming an entrepreneur? But why are you becoming an entrepreneur? Because to answer Aaron's question, by associating with an entrepreneur and continuing to be a part of Vision Builders, even if you said while you were doing it, well, I just want to be a part of his business, I want to work with him, but your mind still wasn't convinced that you are an entrepreneur. Through association, through communication, through conversation, your mind changes. So to answer your question, Aaron, your mind changes by association. Your mind changes about what you feed into your eyes, what you feed into your ears, and what you speak out your mouth. Your mind changes by putting yourself in places where you are pushed against the wall and your beliefs are challenged. And then you decide at that point if you want to hold to your beliefs or you want to change and grow. So the mind really doesn't have this power on its own to control you. You actually are the controller of the mind by what you feed into it. So your mind changes by your surroundings, by your circumstances. Aaron stopped by here today and we was looking at some real estate, and the whole time he kept looking around the building and looking at the boats and I'm like, man, I want to live here. Man, I want to live here so bad. Man, I want to be here. And as he was saying, I'm like saying to myself, he keeps saying that, he gonna wind up living here. Because he's speaking it. He's speaking it. He's like, man, this is so beautiful. Man, I want to live here. Well, you keep talking like that, it's gonna happen because your mind believes what you tell it. Your mind is not running off on its own. I know I'm going deep in, but this is so important to people who want to be successful and entrepreneurs. Your mind is not running around creating its own world or its own fantasy. It's only like a computer spitting out what you feed into it. And you feed into it by the things you choose to listen to, the things you choose to take into your heart and mind, and then the stuff you allow to come out your mouth. Your world is being framed by the words of your mouth. Framed by the things that you speak. Sometimes it's better when you have a bad thought just to not say it, because once you say it and your ears hear you say, forget everybody else. What your ear said, you said, your mind said, oh, so we poor? He said, we poor. We poor? All right, well, then let's start moving in the direction of poverty because he said we poor. Well, I'm struggling. Oh, your mind says, we are? Okay, well, then let's make that a reality. Let's make that happen. We're poor. Let's get that going. So watch your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Watch your mouth. Like watch what you speak out of your mouth. And that will change by what you take into your ears and what you take into your eyes. That was free. I just added that. No extra charge.
Okay, so Edward said, the spoken word is powerful. Then Aaron said, I need it and I love it. Salima said, I'm with you, Aaron. I want to live there too.
She's about living here. Yeah. Mr. Lima's been making it very clear, like she want to come to Miami now. Yeah. Well, come on down. There's plenty of room in Miami.
And then Devon and Ruth were having a conversation. They said the downfall with Apple products is that Apple's product is inclusive. Like nothing compatible down to the charges and apps are used. And then Ruth said, but Apple sells. And I think that's the idea they wanted to present to customers, to be inclusive.
Well, first of all, where's this downfall you talking about? Because this company is what's it worth, trillions right now? Like, where's this downfall? Because every time, well, I don't know what's going to happen now that Steve ain't here, but the product loyalty they have, they may not forever dominate a market, and I don't know if they are anymore, but their fan base and their ecosystem, I'm not ever going to a Samsung or anything like that. I stayed with the iPhone for a reason. Not because I loved the phone and it was better than this one, that one, the other one. Because it matched my ecosystem. I'm using their computers. And the iPad came out and makes sense. Now you got an Apple Watch and the watch talks to the phone, which talks to the computer, which talks to the pad. And man, there's no ecosystem like that. Like none of these people, none of Google, none of their stuff talks. You got the Google Watch, you had the Google phone, it did not talk like, and automatically, literally, you take it out the box and it says, oh, I see your watch. You want me to connect? Yeah, connect. Boom. Oh, you want me to tell you every time you need to turn in your car? Yeah. It's the ecosystem. So I'm committed to the ecosystem. All of my data, all of my phone book and all that stuff that was on my computer went to my phone as soon as I turned it on, went to my iPad as soon as I logged in. That's a value that they created. Now that's a real value. That's not just a talking value. That's a real value to me. My life doesn't get upended from one product to another. There's no learning curve. That right there is real value. That's genius. But let's talk about your value now. What do you believe you're worth? And this is the next and last video I want to play. And then we're coming up on the hour, but I think you're going to really like this one.
We think that if we get paid $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, we're doing something. Listen, I used to be the same exact way. When I first became an entrepreneur, I'll never forget, I got a call. I listed my speaking abilities in this online directory. And I got on the phone with the man, Mr. Taylor. I will never forget Mr. Taylor. And he was like, oh, we want to have you come out and speak. You've got a powerful story. They're going to love you. How much? I said $500 because in my mind, I was an employee who made $50 an hour.
Right. That's 10 times.
10x, right?
For the same hour?
For the same hour worked.
Yeah.
Except it didn't move Mr. Taylor. He said he would call me back. He never called me back. Weeks go by. I call him. You know, I'm courageous. And I'm like, Mr. Taylor, I was waiting on a contract. What happened? Yeah. He's like, oh, we decided to go in another direction. Yeah. And I asked the question that I think often we don't ask. Would you mind sharing why? And he simply said, we found an entrepreneur and speaker who was willing to come and speak to us for $5,000. Your fee was $500. Hers was $5,000. She must be better. Ouch.
Yeah, that hits.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Because we don't understand, because we're thinking about it by the hour. It's not your time, it's the results.
Well, what a way to bring it home. They turned her down. My partner Lindsay is on here. We've had this conversation a million times. Nelly and I have had this conversation a million times. When people say to me, you think you should charge less, my partners, I go, well, go ahead and charge less. Why? Not because I think we should charge less, but because you do. And if you go to a person and ask for $5,000 and they know you ain't got $5,000 in your spirit or in your belly, they're going to say no to you. But she said the man turned her down. 5,000 over 500. She must be better than you. What are we talking about? The value perception. This woman presented her brand as being, she probably got up there and said less than what she would say, or not as good, or exactly the same. They could have both got up there with the same exact speech, same exact PowerPoint, same exact graph, and said the same exact thing. But the man perceived her value to be less, so he didn't take her. She must be better because her presentation said, I'm better. Now watch this. He didn't even hear her. He chose the other woman because the other woman came in with a sense of self-worth that she didn't have. So I tell people all the time, yeah, you can raise the price. You can try to raise your price. I've seen Nelly raise the price. I've seen Lindsay raise the price. But guess what happens in the end? What happens in the end? Well, what happens in the end is you go to the person now and you try to have this conversation with them, and they say, nah, I don't want to give you that. And you go, okay, well, what do you think? You're done, because your value is not in you, so you can't portray it to them or connect it to them or make them feel it because you don't believe it. So they'll tell you, no, I'm not willing to believe that you're worth that. Nothing about you says you are. She said 500. He took a person for 5,000 because of perception of value. And this is what the first video was talking about. Value is not that it's better. The value is that it makes the person feel good and feel that it's better and worth more to them. So tonight's whole thing is about price versus value. You convey your value, but you first have to get it in here. And then when it comes out of your mouth and people's ear, hear what you say, and their eyes look at you and they perceive that what you're saying to them is your genuine concept of who you are and what you believe you're worth, people will pay it. But that's on you. Comments, questions? Let's get it in here and bring this home for tonight. This is the best one in terms of everything working right and everything so far. I think I was pretty hot on the topic too. I think I nailed it. What we got? Get my water. I need some water after that.
Okay. Paul just came in the room. Paul said value is worth more than price.
Facts, PB. Facts. And right, let's see what else we got. Anything else?
And which, thank you for instilling this concept into us.
Why? I want to play this video again. I played the other one twice. I want to play this video one more time. One more time. Let's do it one more time.
We think that if we get paid $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, we're doing something. Listen, I used to be the same exact way. When I first became an entrepreneur, I'll never forget, I got a call. I listed my speaking abilities in this online directory. And I got on the phone with the man, Mr. Taylor. I will never forget Mr. Taylor. And he was like, oh, we want to have you come out and speak. You've got a powerful story. They're going to love you. How much? I said $500 because in my mind, I was an employee who made $50 an hour.
Right. That's
I mean, 10X, right?
For the same hour?
For the same hour, right?
Yeah.
Except it didn't move Mr. Taylor. He He said he would call me back. He never called me back. Weeks go by, I call him. You know, I'm courageous. And I'm like, Mr. Taylor, I was waiting on a contract. What happened? He's like, oh, we decided to go in another direction. And I asked the question that I think often we don't ask. Would you mind sharing why?
Come on, give me questions.
Entrepreneur and speaker who was willing to come and speak to us for $5,000. Your fee was $500. Hers was $5,000. She must be better. Ouch.
Yeah, that hits.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Because we don't understand, because we're thinking about it by the hour. It's not your time, it's the results.
So it gets real. It gets real, and it gets real fast. You can't sell me what you don't believe. You can't convince me that you're worth something that you haven't yet convinced yourself that you're worth. You can't convince anybody else that you're worth something that you haven't convinced yourself that you're worth. So to go to Aaron's question earlier, is the mind the hard thing to tame or to control? It's not that hard to control. What it is what are you feeding into yourself? What do you believe about yourself is what you feed into yourself. And out of the abundance of the heart, mouth speaks, but your mouth speaks. So, but it's the words you take into your ear, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issues of life. Who's around you? What do they talk about? What do they say? And do you agree with what they say? I get into conversations with people all the time, and they give me the yeah buts. Yeah, but it's hard. Yeah, but you don't understand. Yeah, but you know, yeah, but you don't, but you don't have financial problems, so you don't know. And I'm like, I had them. I was poor, welfare poor. I don't have them anymore because I learned how to speak right. Well, what do? I pray and I speak what the word says about me. The word says that I'm blessed and highly favored. The word said, blessed coming in, blessed going out. Everything I put my hand to shall prosper. I believe a lot of it. There's parts of it that I realize that I don't yet believe. And I say, God, I believe, help my unbelief. But I stand on principle that what that says about me is correct. I am what the word says I am, and what I believe I am is what manifests. So let's keep this clear. Say, I am my best asset. Say it. Write it in the chat. I am my best asset. I am my biggest cheerleader. I am capable of doing anything that I can conceive. And that right there is where the ground starts. And your inner self, if it's been fed with garbage, would say, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's possible. But you have to speak back and say, shut up. I said I am. And that's that. Now, listen to me close. I still wrestle with insecurity, and so do most successful people and most wealthy people. See what I compare myself to? Most successful people. That's my view of myself. You're not changing that. Nobody's changing that. I am the image of myself that God has helped me paint, and I stand on it. And I stand on it. And if you or anybody else tries to convince me otherwise, I get rid of you. I love Nelly with all my heart, but we've had the conversation. If you've reached your height and this is it, then you're out. You're out. That's it. I'm moving on. You're out. I'm going to this height, and if you're going with me, we're going. And if you're not, you're staying. Everything I've been able to accomplish because I've been able to accept that all the thoughts and the negative things that have been said to me and around me, because you're black and, this is because of color thing. I'm like, I'm not speaking that stuff over me. Another day. I did that in the past. I don't do that now. I'm not going in the room recognizing my color. I'm going in the room like I'm here to accomplish something, and I'm not trying to persuade people to like me or love me that don't. There's a group of people out there that God has made to love me, And that's the people that I will associate with. And those who are not, I'm not trying to convince. This is huge. This is what makes you powerful. When you become strong in yourself, confident in how God has made you and who God has made you to be, and then you begin to see your value. And then you stop trying to add to yourself a price that's not based on a value that's real to you that you can convey to others. I'm going to take some points, some questions, and we're going to bring it home. But put in the comments, I have value. And you can put, I am value. What we got, Nelly?
Okay, so we have a lot of people saying, I am my best asset. I am my best asset. Okay, so we have Esther. She said, wow, this is so good. Devon, also too, it's about your worth and adding taxes to it.
We're going to stop that. You're calling me doing my thing. Okay, my screen froze. But go ahead.
So Devon said it's about your worth and adding taxes to it. So who said, right, you have to be convinced of your worth.
Keep going.
Devon said, I changed that type of talk with I can, I will. Erich, why is this important? When we are presented with opportunities, we will always lead with knowing our worth and value.
Mm-hmm.
And then Edward says, I am my best asset.
You are.
Mm-hmm. And then Paul says, can you sell sand to a Bedouin and ice to a Inuit? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but
What's that?
it's Bedouin up there. Can you sell sand to a Bedouin?
I saw you. Which one are you reading? I don't see that.
Can you sell sand?
Paul, I don't know if you trying to get too deep on it. Paul, funny. I think what he's trying to say, I can sell ice to an Eskimo. Tell him. All right, we're back. People think it's okay to make phone calls. They know I'm on the live. It's Negroes. Anyway. So yeah. I think we got enough tonight to carry us for a minute. Paul, I got to look up them words. I don't know what a bedlam is. And what's the Inuit? I don't know what neither one of those are. I know what Eskimo. You say, can I sell ice to an Eskimo and sand to what? To the desert? I say this. There's people who believe they can, and I am working to believe that I am and I can in those areas. But I will say by my confession, yes, I can. And the work ethic. There are people that believe the way to success is to work themselves to death. That's not success. Success is finding your ground and maturing in it and thriving in it to the place that you've decided that you want to mature and thrive. Nobody should be able to define for you what your success is. You should. And you should know what it is. And if there's a limit to it and you've picked that limit, then let that be your limit. It's yours. You have a right to it. Once you get there, you may decide, okay, now I want to go to another level. But I want you to be comfortable setting a limit that is good for you, not for somebody else, in terms of success and what success means to you. And then doing what you need to do to achieve that success. And then once you achieve that success, you may want to rest in it for a little bit and then say, okay, now I'm ready to go to the next level. But don't let other people set your levels, because then they devalue you and you devalue yourself. You need to know who you are and where your levels are. And one thing I've done for people sometimes that's been a problem for me is I've seen greatness in them and I try to push them all the way to the top of the mountain right away. But I'm learning, no, let them make the steps. But if you come to me and tell me you're expecting greatness and then your conversation says otherwise, we're going to have a problem. And I may say to you, I respect your level and I respect what you want to do, but you ain't doing that around me. So we got to go separate ways because you are not seeing things the way I see things. That's it. Nothing personal. So keep this in mind. You are your greatest asset. You decide your greatness, the height of it, the depth of it, and the width of it. You have the power in your own tongue to speak your destiny different, but you can't speak life if you're feeding into yourself death. So watch your mouth, watch what you take into your mouth, watch what you feed yourself. It's very, very, very important. And with that said, if there's no other questions or comments, we're going to wrap this up. Nelly?
Yes, and I saw another comment by Paul. He said, Alexa, play Cheerleader by OMI. I don't need everybody. I only need my 300 like Gideon.
Okay, I got the 300 like Gideon. I don't know what the cheerleader Alexa is. Is that? Paul, you too much, bro.
Edward says, I'm very capable in doing anything I can perceive.
Appreciate that. Paul, I got the message from Edward today that you said, thank you for what you've learned from us that has helped you achieve a goal that you're reaching for right now. And I won't get into detail, that's your business. But thank you for that. You know, it's nice to know that we're talking to people and we're making a difference in their lives. So yeah, I'm glad that we helped. We're here to help and we'll continue to help. This is what we're here to do. This is what Vision Builders is all about. And with that said, tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell a family member, bring some people with you next time you come and say, come see the man who helped me out. And this is what it's all about. This is how we grow. This is how we get better. I'm gonna tell you guys, you are a great asset and a great blessing. One of the best things that has happened to me in terms of me going forward to fulfill the dream I've been called to for many years and would not do. And with that said, we can take on anything and we can beat anything. You ready? Let's grow.